Fantastic start to Phase 5 and makes me very excited for future projects James Gunn will be at the head of. I got a quick list for this review that I'll be going through because this movie was pretty fantastic. Start off, cool opening. It was such a cool opening. Song was great, starting off with just Rocket coming on in and talking to, I think it was Nebula, which is very thematic for how the movie ends. And I will say this will be spoiler heavy, but I won't touch on everything, so you can still go into the movie and still be surprised and so on. So this will be pretty brief. But going past that, we quickly get into Adam Warlock. Right after we get through Peter Quill being drunk, we snap straight into an amazing entrance by Adam Warlock to Crazy on You by the Hearts. It was great. It was awesome. I've seen the memes, and actually seeing the scene in the movie was fantastic. He's quite powerful, and it makes me wonder how powerful some of the other threats are going to be within the MCU. I'll say some of my critiques are just it feels very, like MCU-y, which is fine. Like it's a cool movie. Amazing musical references that James Gunn has obviously implemented into the movie. Volumes 1 and 2 have amazing fanfare with, the OST, both original and the copyrighted music that they have into it. Going through the characters, Groot is awesome. I love him. And it's actually really funny that people are only now coming around to the fact that this Groot is a different person than the Volumes 1 Groot. I guess people just thought that he, respawned and is just now tiny again. No, that's his son. Rocket's great. Rocket's whole story throughout this entire movie is tear-jerking. It really is. And I love the themes of, things like animal abuse and animal cruelty and so on and so forth. It's a lot. It's heavy. And it really makes you feel for Rocket. I am not afraid to admit I cried. I absolutely cried during this movie because it is so touching. Gamora is great whenever we do see her. Nebula is a standout yet again within this movie. She changes and adapts so much. Her cool new arm is awesome. Mantis is yet again super funny. They do just drop the fact that Star-Lord and Mantis are brother and sister. Now, I know that they were brother and sister because obviously of the holiday special. I can see how some people are going to be like, what, you just breezed over that? But this phase is getting to the point, and the MCU is getting to a point where you have to watch everything, which can be a critique on its own. But if you enjoy watching MCU stuff, it's not too big of a critique. Drax is awesome. Yet again, fantastic. And I have to say, another standout actor is... all of these actors are standout, but goodness. Dave Bautista is just so awesome as Drax. He brings his A game every single time he plays Drax the Destroyer and Drax the Father. Good lord. The villain High Evolutionary is scary, he's powerful, and he demands the scene, and I'm so glad that he came back as an actor from being with James Gunn during Peacemaker, because I loved the actor during Peacemaker, and then coming into the name of the actor is currently escaping me. I'm pretty sure their name starts with C. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely great. I love the little touch and go kind of thing of oh yeah, I'm just trying to, make a perfect world without the bigotry and hatred. And then it's well, see how that turned out. There's a squid face selling meth on the street. Adam Warlock, I want to mention, I'm going to go back to Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock is weird, eccentric, and definitely different than his comic counterpart, which I don't completely mind, because I thought that, honestly, Adam Warlock is just weird in the comics. He's very just kind of one note, in my opinion. He's Adam Warlock. He's the powerful guy. He's golden, and he wore the Infinity Gauntlet during Infinity War. It's okay. So I'm actually really glad the way that they took him in the direction with this movie and made him... He's obviously more comic-centric because it's the MCU, so it's going to be comedy focused, but then it's James Gunn and the Guardians, so of course it's going to be even more comedy focused. The action scenes in this movie are great. The hallway scene is awesome. All the scenes of them fighting are just so cool. And that comes back around to something is the ending, and then also the idea of, again, spoilers, but the fake out deaths. There's a lot of moments in this film where you think that one of the Guardians is just going to bite the dust and die. We got Peter, we got one for Gamora, we got one for everyone, it seemed. Drax seemed like he dropped fucking dead at one point in the movie. But no, he gets back up later on and he's fine because they all get out. And, Star-Lord had his scene, which I thought was like, okay, they are actually going to kill him off. I think I've already talked about Rocket's backstory. Rocket's backstory is, again, mentioned on my notes here, but wow. We get to see so much more whenever we get further and further into the movie. That moment where he's looking at all the baby raccoons and then he sees that he's called a raccoon, and then the whole final fight with him versus the High Evolutionary, and then all of the Guardians just absolutely demolishing him. So cool. So cool. It's fantastic seeing that, and then him saying, I'm Rocket freaking Raccoon, or I'm the Guardians of freaking Galaxy, and then that whole thing. It's so good. So many great callbacks. The movie feels long. It feels like it drags on in certain parts, and then when you get to the end, it feels like it flew by. Hatsune Miku is in the movie with 50 other Vocaloids with Koinu no Carnival, which is such a funny song to hear. I was watching and I heard, I was like, oh my god, that's great. Counter Earth is also really cool. The entire movie definitely feels really, really good. I don't have too much more to say about it without just, going into too much detail of just step by step of the entire movie. But yeah, definitely feels like a great start to Phase 5. Great finale to James Gunn's trilogy of the Guardians, and I definitely feel like this is up there in terms of the trilogies for the comic book movie universes, and especially in the MCU. I definitely hold it up there with maybe like number 4, number 3, up there with like Captain America. But then again, depending on your feelings about the Captain America trilogy, it can be either take it or leave it. But it's certainly up there in terms of like things like the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy, the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, and then the Spider-Verse trilogy, and so on. It is fantastic. Definitely better than the Thor trilogy, and definitely way, way better than the Ant-Man trilogy, and I'd definitely say better than the Iron Man trilogy. So yeah, and it makes me very, very excited to see James Gunn with the DC projects, and especially Superman Legacy, because I know that he'll definitely do Superman justice, even if the rest of the DCEU is a flop. It doesn't matter. As long as that Superman movie's great, that's all I really care about. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the movie down in the comments down below. I would certainly give this movie like a solid 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, like a B-. It's really, really good, and it certainly feels like a good start for Phase 5. But yeah, leave a like down below. If you want to see more of all the crazy stuff that I do on the channel, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of every single time I do that. But yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye.